Hey y'all, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and today I'm going to talk about the Sigma 65mm f2 DGDN L-mount lens. To get started, this lens is amazing. I just have to say it right up front. This review is going to seem like they paid me to do this, but they didn't. A friend of mine owns these and loaned them to me so that I could test them out to see if I liked them or not. That was how I came to possess them temporarily. I've got to give them back. Thank you, Hassan, for loaning me the lenses. These lenses are native L-mount, so they fit directly on my Leica SL2. Now, these lenses compared to my SL Primes have a few features that are different. So I'm going to go over those right now. Number one, this lens is all metal construction from what I can tell. I'm not even sure, but it's entirely plausible that the aperture ring is also metal. It might be plastic. I ain't perfectly sure there, but the body is aluminum. It's a machined aluminum finish. It has, that's the whole lens. Mine, I'm not taking the rear cap off, but you can just imagine it's just slightly longer than that. But it has an external aperture ring, which is really nice. And it has this manual focus, autofocus switch on the lens. It has a fly-by-wire, as they say, focus-by-wire, technically, focus ring. As you can see, I can continue to spin it only in one direction and it never bottoms out. So it's not mechanically coupled to the helicoid in any way. So it is a encoder talking to the camera, which is controlling focus. Kind of like my SL lenses, because they have a focus ring on them and it's the same way. That part does mirror like a, that's a play on word, like a Leica. I just got that. Okay, getting back to the lens review. I put this lens on my SL2 and I went for a photo walk in Chattanooga with it. And here are some of the photos from that trip. This lens has a stepper motor focus system in it, so it's fast, it's sure, and it pretty well lands on focus every single time. Things that I noticed right away about it is the attention to detail in manufacturing is stunning. Even the lens hood, I'm pretty sure, is machined aluminum. It's a work of art. Everything fits perfectly. Even the lens hood's locking. I mean, listen to this. There's a nice positive click. It's very tactile. The aperture ring goes from f2 to f22 in 1/3 stop increments all the way through the range. If you go to vintage lenses back in the day, like the first full stop, there wouldn't be 1/3 or whatever, and typically there wouldn't be 1/3 stop increments. Then it would be half stops. You would go from like f2.8 to f4, and then halfway, and then f5.6, and then halfway, and then f8, all the way to like f11, and then it would jump plumb to 16. You know, it would do whole stops on the first click on each end, and then halves in the middle. Well, this does 1/3 straight through the range. And then if you want auto aperture control, once you hit f22, you push it a little further and it jumps to auto on the lens. So you have manual and auto aperture control on the lens proper. So once you put it in auto, now you control it with the thumb wheel on the camera, the same way you control a Leica lens at that point. The manual autofocus switch is very similar to that. With the Leica lens, you pick manual focus from the touch screen, and then it puts it in manual focus, and then you can do back button focus, and that's how you get back button focus on SL2. You put it in manual, and that's where back button's built. And poof, the lens is on the camera now. Okay, just to confirm some stuff, what I've done is I've mounted the lens and I've put it in autofocus, and in autofocus, the shutter button focuses and the back button focuses. So if you hit back button focus, when you go to press the shutter, it's going to refocus again. So if you want back button only, you switch it to manual focus, and now you have back button focus only. But you also have the standard manual focus ring, and it has a zoom function. The moment you turn this manual focus ring, the camera automatically zooms in onto the focus point to allow precise manual focus, which is a nice touch. This does the same thing as the Leica counterpart does. This lens is a phenomenal feat of engineering from what I can tell. It's laser sharp, it renders beautifully, it works on my camera, it just works great. So if you're looking at getting one of these lenses, as opposed to maybe the more expensive Leica counterpart, it will serve you well. You know, Sigma is part of the L-mount line. Knowing that, you're able to use this lens on a Leica camera or a Panasonic Lumix camera, and it'll work automatically. So you just keep that in mind. But this actually is a pretty good lens in all aspects I've tested in. And the times I've taken it out and shot with it now, I've shot with it a few times. You know, it's not an exhaustive review. This is more of a kind of an initial impressions sort of review, but I have spent a few days with it, and it works. It works really well. Focus is silent and very fast. Everything about it just is well done. They've well executed, even all the way down to the lens caps. They have upped their game dramatically from 10 years ago when I was messing around with Sigma glass. It's a completely different game now. So if you're looking at Sigma glass and you're looking at it with some mild disdain or distrust because it's a third-party lens maker, understand this lens works perfectly on this Leica camera, where they make this lens in a plethora of mounts. Take the review for what it's worth, but this lens works beautifully. So until next time, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and I'm going to tell you to get your camera out and go take a picture with it, all right? We'll see you later. Bye-bye.